two esters. And a phenol. And the carbon chain that is all over here. Cocaine can be found in the coca leaf. That is the plant where you can extract the cocaine. And the way you can have this drug in your system is by inhalating, like this, by dissolving it in the water, by injecting yourself with it, or by chewing the coca leaf. And now we will show you in a video how does it affect your nervous system.
The effect of cocaine in our brain. In our brains, there are literally trillions of neural connections that enable the complex things we do daily in life, like speaking and our behavior. All of our emotions are in these interconnected neurons like we can see in the image, and each connection point is a synapse. That is a gap between the end of one neuron and the beginning of another one. At the synapse, there is an electrical signal that triggers the release of chemical signals that travel through the synaptical cleft and find their specific receptors at the other end. These signals are known as neurotransmitters that are responsible for initiating a neurotransmission in the other neuron. We can have a lot of neurotransmitters, but the important one on this work is dopamine, because it's the one that is directly linked to cocaine. What happens is that dopamine is responsible for our pleasure emotions triggering some receptors to bind the other for a specific amount of time. The characteristic of dopamine is that it doesn't last forever. It just lasts for a couple of seconds or even minutes. So, you have the receptor and when you stop feeling the pleasure, the neurotransmitters come back, like we can see, and you stop feeling that pleasure until you have it again. What cocaine does is that when dopamine wants to return the receptors that it just used, cocaine blocks the way in the period of time you have it in your system. And when you don't have cocaine anymore, they return. But you affected the receptors in the other neuron. That's mainly why you get addicted to it.
The problem in which we, based on our investigation, was that the 7% of the deaths caused by heart attacks and cardiovascular diseases is because of consuming cocaine. So, we found that the independent variable is the doses and the time you consume the cocaine. And the dependent variable is the toxins that the body consumes from these two independent variables, so you have a heart attack. Our hypothesis is that if you consume the double of the dosage of cocaine, you will duplicate the risk of having a heart attack or other cardiovascular diseases.
In the United States, more than 100,000 people die each year because of the consumption of cocaine, while 7 each day die by overdose. While in Mexico we duplicate the value, they are 200,000 people each year dying by the same causes.
The relationship between Mexico and United States is that Mexico provides a lot of cocaine to United States, which gives a really good economy for a country. The main objective by doing this research was to create consciousness about the risk of inhaling or consuming cocaine and the risk about having heart diseases and heart attacks. Also, another objective was to improve the individual economy. By this we mean that people who used to spend a lot of money by consuming cocaine Now it's going to use that money to another thing that is going to be better for their lives. And another objective was to avoid social conflicts like the creation of cartels and murders because of money in selling and buying cocaine. Also, we wanted to improve social security without cartels also.
Three weeks later. Eventually,
Now we are going to talk about the conclusions. The first that we got to is that Mexico and the United States are two different countries, but they share a similarity, that is the drug trafficking. Because Mexico is the mainly producer and the United States is the mainly consumer. The second conclusion is that narco trafficking is a huge problem into the economic, political, and social ambit because there is a lot of violence in the countries and a lot of murders because of the money. The third one is that cocaine is a very dangerous drug that is cataloged in the United States but not in Mexico. So it is easier for Mexicans to get this drug and consume it. The third one is that we notice that it doesn't depend on the time you consume the drug. It depends more on the age, and in the fifth conclusion that is that every organism is different. So you can't predict what could react your body and your nervous system to this drug. So you have to be very careful and aware that cocaine is very dangerous and that the first proof you can get addicted to.